buying a car is a big financial decision. I mean, what should you do? Should you buy one with cash or should you finance one?
In this video, we're going to talk about the 24-10 rule and what it is. And we're going to talk about if you can even afford a car payment. And then at the end of the video, we're going to talk about what you can do with those car payments instead of making payments on a car, what you can do with it and other things like investing.
If you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Click on that bell so you get the notifications when we put out some new videos. And in the comments below, let us know what type of car you want for your first vehicle. If you're thinking about financing a car, it's extremely important to go into a buying situation knowing what you can realistically afford. The 20-40-10 rule is a great way for you to go into some sort of buying situation with a vehicle to see how much you can actually afford based off of your income and your budget. I mean, living alone or living out on your own is already ridiculously expensive. I mean, if you wanted to add into a car insurance, gas, and any sort of vehicle maintenance costs that you're gonna have to incur with this vehicle on top of already living out on your own, I mean, it's crazy. But, I mean, cars are needed sometimes, you know, and if you want a nice car, if you like shiny things, I get that because I'm a man, princess, and I love shiny.
He really does.
So, I understand.
So what is the 24-10 rule that we keep talking about? Well, the 20 represents 20% down payment that you should make when you go to finance a car. And then the 4 represents you shouldn't finance a car for more than 4 years. Because if you do that, then you're just paying way too much money in interest. And then the 10 represents that it shouldn't be more than 10% of your total monthly income. And that includes everything. So your car payment, your insurance, your gas, your car maintenance, all that should not be more than 10% of your total monthly income.
The easiest way to calculate this is to do it off of your monthly net income. That's going to be your income for the month after taxes and deductions have already been taken out. So for example, if you're making $5,000 a month, your monthly expenses on a vehicle, transportation, shouldn't be more than $500. I mean, and again, we're talking car payment, fuel, insurance, and maintenance, okay? Now, if you're making $2,000 a month, then your monthly transportation expenses shouldn't go past $200. I mean, so do you think that's realistic? Do you think that that's something that your budget can handle? I mean, with those numbers right there.
I mean, how much is insurance? Like 100?
Depends.
150 bucks?
You got bad driving record?
Yeah, you got SR 22? You been speeding?
You a good student?
Yeah.
You a bad student?
You got good credit, bad credit? All those things can affect it. So if your insurance is like 100, 150 bucks, and then you're going to spend, I don't know, depends on how far you have to drive to get to school or work, but at least 50 bucks, 100 bucks a month on gas. So right there, that's over $200 a month just between gas and insurance.
I mean, and don't forget that if you finance a vehicle, you have to get full coverage insurance on it, okay? There's no way a bank is going to give you money without full coverage. And then if you don't get full coverage, the bank or the financial institution that gives you money is going to give you full coverage insurance at an extremely crazy high rate. So you need to make sure that you get that insurance coverage, you know, and you actually do your research to find a reasonable cost for insurance, or else you're going to pay some buku bucks.
Yeah, it's a much different price than just liability. So do yourself a favor. If you can't afford that on $2,000 a month income, probably buy a car in cash if you can, right? So if you're still living at home, save up, buy a car in cash. Or if you're going to finance a car, finance a cheap car, or a less expensive car, so that you can afford those payments, right? Don't go buy a $20,000 car and have huge payments that you can't really afford on top of insurance and gas and all the other stuff. And something I learned the hard way is I financed a Volkswagen that the engine blew up in my face when I was in college, and I could not afford to fix that thing. It sucked me dry financially, and that was like a $6,000 maintenance cost that I was not planning on, that I couldn't afford, right? I could barely afford the payments and the gas and the insurance and all that stuff anyways. I shouldn't have had a car payment. I should have had a car that I owned. And then to have that happen on top of it, wrecked me.
So like we had said, if you don't think that 10% is realistic, you know, you can't, you know, seem to manage making $2,000 a month and a $200 a month car payment, and with your insurance and transportation costs included. Nerdwallet suggests that you spend 20% of your overall income on your travel expenses, or excuse me, your transportation expenses. So that would be 10% on your car payment, okay, or less than 10% in a perfect world. And then the other 10% on your gas, maintenance costs, and car insurance. So if you were making $2,000 a month, I mean, that's going to give you $200 a month for your car payment, and then $200 a month for your insurance, gas, and maintenance costs, which brings you up to a total of $400 a month. I mean, that seems to me a little bit more reasonable, but I mean, whatever risk you're willing to take and whatever situation you're willing to, accept or handle is going to be up to you.
Okay, so let's say you make $15 an hour, you're working full-time, 40 hours a week. That's like $2,400 a month-ish. After taxes, probably around $2,000 that you're going to be taking home, depending on what state you live in that charges more or less for taxes. So let's go off of a $2,000 a month income that you take home. And you got to pay bills on that. And you're a young adult, probably don't have a lot of bills yet, right? You got to pay for rent and food and stuff like that. So we're going to throw out some rough estimate numbers here. Obviously, based on where you live, these can change a lot. Or if you eat more food at home, or if you eat out a lot, those numbers can fluctuate. So we're going to say rent's like $700 a month, okay? Food's $300 a month. I feel like that's pretty realistic. I mean, food's getting more expensive. Utilities, if you got a roommate, your portion might be $50 a month. Your phone might be $50 to $100 a month, depending on if you got your own plan or you're on your parents' plan. Maybe you got to pay for renter's insurance. That's like $15, $20 a month. You should be able to afford a car payment, right? If you want to afford a car payment. That should leave you enough room to get that $400 a month, because if you're only making $2,000 a month, 20% comes to $400. You should be able to make that car payment, your insurance, pay for gas, all that stuff on that $2,000 a month. Now, if you got bills that are more expensive, or you got other things you pay for outside of this, right? Or you're trying to put away money for investing for your retirement or savings or anything else, you're going to be living pretty close to, not having any money left over at the end of the month. Not even having money for a life or to go out and do anything you enjoy. So, yeah, you can do it. Should you do it? I mean, that's up to you. Like Phillip said, that's totally up to you on how much risk you're willing to accept. I mean, do I want to do that? No. I'd much rather have a car paid off, and all I got to do is pay for gas and insurance, and then have extra money for a life or whatever else. But, I mean, maybe you really love driving that car. I don't know.
Yeah. I had my car paid off for years. Totaled it, ended up having to sell it, and then went through a real hard decision for me to finally get another vehicle to replace the one that had gotten damaged, because I didn't want another car payment, and I'm a grown man now.
I actually watched him get in a wreck.
You did, actually.
Yeah. The guy got out and was laughing, and I thought he was going to kill him.
Yeah. Anyways, so, it took me all this time to finally figure out what type of car I was going to get, just because I didn't want a car payment. I mean, I could afford the car payment. That wasn't an issue. I just didn't want it. I didn't want to pay for it, So, it was a struggle. But here we are.
So if you have that car payment, I mean, it takes away all your extra income to have a savings or investing or putting money away for vacation. I know that was like the worst thing. When I was in college and I had a car because I thought I just needed this new car to be reliable and to get me from point A to point B and not break down. After like 3 months of making those car payments, and it was like $300 a month back then, I absolutely despised making those payments because between my car payment, my insurance, my gas, I think it was like $500 a month I was spending just to get to college and to work.
Yeah.
And you know what that $500 could have done every month? I could have gone on a vacation, like literally monthly. And then when I started thinking about it that way, I'm like, this is stupid. I'd rather have like a cheap 2005 Honda Accord or something that's paid off. Doesn't cost me hardly anything in insurance because it was a cheap car in the first place.
Yeah.
It gets good gas mileage, and then I can go on more vacations, or I can put more money into my savings.
Yeah. But the problem is, you kids out there want to go get that real big, shiny, fast, cool-looking car out there to show off to your friends so you guys look cool. And I'm speaking from experience here, okay, because I used to do the same thing. So that little cheap monthly payment isn't so cheap because you're like, well, I could get that car, or I could get that one over there. And my friends would think I'm real cool if I got that one, so I'm going to get that one, right? But in reality, you should probably be saving your money and using it towards other things like cool trips. Like you want to show off to your friends, show off to them that you're in some cool place or that you could retire at a young age and then go travel all over the place while they're working until they're 70. That's how you show off. I'm just saying.
But we're not perfect either, okay?
No.
Having a nice car, I mean, there's a lot of like emotional stuff involved there with that purchase, and we know better. And do you remember the one time I talked you out of buying a $75,000 truck? I was like, bro, we teach this stuff. We know better than that. And you're like, I know, but I want it so bad. It's so nice.
I didn't get the truck, but I still really want it.
Yeah.
I got an Audi instead.
You got a real good deal.
I did.
Yeah.
Divorcee.
Like, I don't even know how you got that deal. It's nuts.
Yeah. So, can you afford a car off a $2,000 a month income? I mean, yes. Do we recommend it? Probably not. Right? If you're making $2,000 a month, I mean, you're probably just getting started in your adult life. Okay? Find some cheap car on like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or something. Buy it with cash and save yourself the headache. All of that money that you would be spending on a car payment every single month, I mean, you could start to do that once you make more money and once you have a savings account built up to put a down payment down and make those monthly payments a little bit cheaper for a car that you want. Okay? In the meantime, and in between time, you can use that money that you would be paying on a car to invest in yourself and in your future. Put into a 401k. Start an IRA. Buy some stocks. Do something. Put it in savings. Start your emergency fund. I mean, you're young. Get out there. Start doing the right things from the beginning, and you'll thank us later.
Or not. And you can end up like the average American who is literally just broke, struggling, living paycheck to paycheck because they're redlining every single month because they finance everything. I mean, that's the problem in American society is people don't do this stuff, right? So you can delay gratification, maybe live at home a little bit longer or drive a car that's already paid off for a little bit longer while you're saving up money and doing the things that Phillip just mentioned. I know I drove a 2001 Honda Civic that I hated. I mean, actually I ended up selling it to him.
Yeah, and then
but
I drove it and hated it.
Yeah, but I drove it for years. And I didn't have a car payment. It was cheap. The insurance was cheap. Repairs were cheap. I think it got like 40 miles a gallon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't get a nice truck until I was 33. I'd been in the military for 15 years, and I could actually afford that kind of payment, and it didn't affect my monthly income or my monthly bills for anything else that I was doing. Yeah. So I delayed that for a long time, and I wanted the truck for years. But I drove a car that didn't have payment just because it made my life a lot easier financially, and I could put more money away and do other grown-up things like put money into vacations so I could take my family to Disneyland or whatever. So instead of having a nice car, I was able to do all the other stuff. And then eventually, once I made more money, I bought a nicer car.
So let's say you're 20 years old and you're making this $2,000 a month and you're considering going and putting that money, towards your car payment, that $200 a month. All right? But if you didn't put that $200 a month towards a car payment and you started investing that $200 a month into some sort of IRA that gave you like a 7% return,
which isn't even that good.
Not
That's
even
like
good.
not even good.
That's
yeah.
You
I
know?
haven't gotten less than 15% in I don't know 8 or 9 years.
I haven't gotten less than like 28% in some years.
Yeah, no, he's been killing it. But we're gonna say 7 because that's not good.
Yeah,
but you're probably pretty much
good.
guaranteed to get above 7. I mean, if you're not getting above 7, you're doing real bad.
Yeah. So let's say you invest that money, right? And then by the time that you are 65, okay, that's $500,000 that you would have invested, right? And it would have grown, so you would have invested less. But that's what the money would have been worth if you would have started investing, and then 40 years later, bam, you got $500,000, right? Instead of buying this little car that you're probably going to break and drive into a wall or something that's going to end up in a junkyard that isn't going to be worth anything. So, I mean, there's your two different scenarios. You got scenario A, you buy a car that's going to depreciate in value, break, have all of these issues. And then you have this other one where you can take that money and invest it in yourself and then give yourself an awesome, retirement once you hit the age of retirement. I mean, most people at age of 64 only have $64,000. I mean, how are you supposed to live off of that? You just work, keep working forever? All right? I don't want to work when I'm old like that.
Nope.
Nobody.
Nope. So you can do what everybody else does, right? Finance stuff, starting at an early age, or you can make the hard choices you know, buy a car in cash or buy a cheaper car and then have smaller payments on it for a shorter amount of time and then have it paid off and drive it to the freaking wheels fall off on it, right? And then have that other money going into investments or, you know, saving up to buy real estate or whatever it is you want to do, right? Doing the things that other people aren't doing will help you not end up like everybody else. I mean, who wants to be 65 and making 64 or have $64,000 saved up for retirement? That sucks. That's bad. Or not be able to cover a $500 emergency expense without putting it on a credit card. It's because people redline, and that's why we make these videos. That's the whole point of this channel, is to help you not be that way. And they don't teach this stuff in school, and they should.
Yeah.
And if they did, we probably wouldn't be in such bad shape as a country or society. Well, really, the world. Everybody does it. Yeah.
Do yourself a favor. Don't be like everyone else.
It's hard. But as a recap, the 24-10 rule is put 20% down if you're going to finance a car. Don't do it for more than 4 years, and don't have it be more than 10% of your overall total monthly income.
I mean, if you can't do that, then you can change it to the 20% of your monthly income, but everything else should still stay the same, right? Still put that 20% down. Still do a 4-year term, and then 20% of your income. Okay? All right. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. In the description below, we got links to all of our resources that are going to help you create budgets, move out of your parents' house, and how to buy a car. So make sure you check those out. In the comments below, let us know if you have any questions.
And we'll see you in the next video.